Welcome, fans. Guys, I finished my binge watch of season 1 of Scream Queens, and I wanted to basically give you my ideas on what I thought about it. Um, so why don't you go on ahead and grab your cotton balls and some barbecue sauce or whatever you like to dip them in, and let's go on ahead and let's talk some Scream Queens. Yeah. Mm. Ah, ah, like good stuff. This is my jam. So, a spoiler warning to those of you out there who have not seen season 1 of Scream Queens and you don't want to know any information on it or the characters or anything about season 2, don't watch my video. So, let's move on. I thought season 1 was awesome! Now, I mean, obviously, there are so many things that we need to talk about. I can't cover everything, every awesome, insane, crazy moment, but I'm going to try to go over as much as I can with you guys. So before I start, let me know what your favorite character, your favorite scene, and your favorite maybe episode of the whole thing was. And did you like the ending? Did you predict who it was going to be and who the Red Devil killer was and all that stuff? Oh, and also, guys, don't watch my video if you do not want to know who the Red Devil killer is. I will spoil the shit out of that for you. Don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. Please don't put me in that situation. So, let's start basically with the story. Okay, the story starts off with we have 4 sorority sisters and a 5th in a bathtub. It's 1995, it's a big sorority house party, and one of the sisters gives birth in a bathtub. She said she didn't know she was pregnant. I guess that's logical. Whatever. And so the girls decide that they're going to leave her in the tub because their favorite song is playing and they'll be back afterwards to, take care of the situation. But when they get back after the song, the poor girl has bled out and she has passed away. Now, the story picks up immediately after that with Grace. She is a freshman at this college. I completely forgot the name of it. I'm sorry. And she's a freshman. She wants to join the Kappa sorority. Now, this is where it gets really funny because you get to meet Chanel Oberlin. Now, guys, it's important for you to know that the name of the sorority house is Kappa Kappa Tau. That is the sorority house where the girl died in the tub in 1995, giving birth to the baby, and it is now the sorority that Chanel is overseeing. I thought one of the best parts in Chanel's story is when you got to see how she was treated by the girl before her who was in her place, before her. I thought that was a really great scene. Basically, the storyline goes where Chanel is the president of the sorority, and it's extremely important to her. I mean, there is nothing more important to her than having money, having a very hot boyfriend, and being the most popular girl on campus and being president of her sorority. That's it. That's it. That's all this poor girl has. She's not about friends, family, love, or life's enrichments or its beauty. None of that. Fuck that stuff. Anyway, so the story goes about how Chanel is trying to keep herself popular, keep herself it, so to speak, but yet there is a Red Devil killer killing off her sorority pledges. The killer is dressed in a Red Devil costume, which is the mascot for the college. Which is funny, at one point the school changes it to the cone. It's an ice cream costume that the dean decides to replace the Red Devil with, and at first nobody likes nobody likes the ice cream cone, and then all of a sudden this ice cream cone kid is now the most popular kid on campus. That was kind of funny how it turned out. Anyway, guys, basically that's the story. I mean, this is a dark comedy show, and I thought it was hilarious. There were so many one-liners in the show that I could not keep track of them. So I wrote down just a few notes on what I thought. I basically wanted you guys to know, too, that I love the characters. I actually was sad when deaf Taylor Swift and Chanel number 2 were killed in the pilot, which I know a lot of people out there don't like Ariana Grande, but I don't know. I think she's really cute. And she did a pretty good job. Her death scene was pretty darn hilarious when they were texting each other. And she was so quick to send that text, but it took her forever to send out a tweet. I don't get that. Anyway, Emma Roberts really did make the show. I mean, really, she is a great focal character. Whoever does her writing for Scream Queens, they should get an Emmy. That is great writing. She reminds me a lot, her character, of Madison Montgomery. So I understand now why Ryan Murphy felt that she was going to be perfect for his show, Scream Queens, because her character of Madison in The Coven is ironically close to Chanel's. So I guess I can understand now why he decided to kind of cast her in a role that was sort of like one that she had already played. She's just that great at it. She's just that great at it. I thought she did great. I hope she wins something for this show. She really does deserve it. So, now, whenever everything happened, I have on here, why didn't Chanel make everyone search the house for the Red Devil? In the pilot, she makes them all do everything except search the house for the Red Devil. I don't understand that. And if Grace were my kid, I'd have brought her ass home and away from the killer ASAP. I mean, when you're a parent and your kid is in danger, especially if you're a mom, you are a bear and you are going to slit the throat of anybody who is trying to hurt your child. You're gonna maul that son of a gun, okay? And the dad, at every single turn, he wanted to bring his daughter home because there's a serial killer killing girls in her sorority. And everybody convinced him not to. Yeah, that never happened to me. You could never talk me out of anything. I am a very determined and strong-minded person. You can't talk me out of anything. So it was just silly that they, the dad went to the dean and then went to his daughter and they were like, no, you can't take Grace. And then Grace is like, no, you can't take me. I don't want to go. And I love Chad Powell. And I have noted on here that I hope he doesn't die, but he's a dick, so he probably will die. But he didn't. Yay! There were so many great Chad Powell moments, especially when Chanel and them were locked in the sorority house and Chad and his sorority friends come to help her. He climbs up the ladder, comes to her window, and she says, "Oh, Chad, rescue me and I'll be yours forever." And he stops and hesitates. And he's like, just take that back and then I'll help you. What kind of guy really does that? I mean, I thought that was really hilarious at that point when he just hesitated to help her because he didn't want her to be his forever. Anyway, Chanel reveals that 2 Chanels are dead to the whole group. Oh yeah, at one point in episode 2, they're trying to keep Chanel number 2's death a secret. Even though she has tweeted that, thought it was funny too when Ariana Grande came back to life to hit enter on her computer. That was great. But that tweet still went out. And everybody's still trying to keep her death silent. The Chanels are, and Chanel number 1. But all of a sudden, when they're all down there together, Chanel number 1 just blurts out that, Chanel number 2 is already dead. You're trying to keep that a secret. Great job. Great job. So let's move on to the next one that I have in my notes. There was a great tribute in there, guys, to Jamie Curtis, to her mom being in Psycho. It was a really great part where she got into a shower, undid the wrapping on the soap, and turned it on, and then the Red Devil killer tries to come at her when she's in the shower, like Psycho style. I thought that was a really great tribute to Jamie Lee Curtis's mom, because, her mom was the major character in Psycho. And, dude, that girl, too, I thought it was awesome that she could kick ass, that, I don't remember who she said, some sort of guy, taught her how to make love, or she taught him how to make love and he taught her how to kick ass, something like that. So I thought that was, adorable. Anyway, and then there's one part where Jamie Lee Curtis tells Grace that the reason that she never went to a psychiatrist for some of her issues is that the less we know about ourselves, the better. And I thought that was a really great one-liner because that is true. There are a lot of things inside of ourselves that we could explore, certain desires and feelings, and maybe those things are best left unsaid or unlooked at. And I thought that was a really great one-liner on how there is a demon basically almost in every single one of us. You just don't want to acknowledge it or look at it too long, otherwise it will become a part of you, and you can't just ignore it any longer. I thought that was a really great little internal meaning there, excuse me, in episode 7. So Grace's dad also doesn't think that Gigi is crazy. Okay, now dude, she forced you into a marriage engagement. She asks you if she can just go to the mall to just find a couple of cute little things to put into your apartment. And instead, she comes back with an engagement ring thinking that you guys are engaged. Look, if any guys are out there watching this or any girls who date girls, if someone that you love does that, they're crazy, okay? Don't go for that. I mean, unless you like crazy, you know. I mean, anyway, I just thought that it was insane on how the dad took Gigi's word over his own daughter. I mean, that's such a cliche in some shows, and that's one thing that I did not like in Scream Queens. It's the only thing, too, guys, so I promise I'm not going to go off on this. But there are a lot of people out there who take the word of the person that they're seeing over their own child. I don't understand how you could do that. I just don't understand how you could not put your kid first instead of your own personal life or your personal relationship that you're having with another person. You can't just do that. You can't just ignore your kid and just think, oh, all of a sudden what used to, you know, she was never paranoid before, everything was great, we had a great relationship, she moved in here, I met a new woman. Which one's lying to me? The daughter that I've known her whole life, or the woman that I've only met just a couple of weeks ago and who already thinks we're engaged? I mean, so let's talk about the characters, guys. The characters. Okay, guys, so let's start with the Chanels. Chanel number 1, obviously, is Emma Roberts. And she, I thought, obviously was the best in the entire season. Now, there were other characters that I loved just as much, so let's go over them. Chanel number 2, who is Ariana Grande, I thought she was adorable, and I wish that she would have been on just a little bit more. It was really cool that she came back for the Ouija board episode. And I thought that was cool that they actually cameoed her there, but it would have been a little funner to see her just a little bit longer. Anyway, I thought she was still pretty awesome. Chanel number 3. By Billie Lourd. In case you guys don't know, Billie Lourd is the daughter of Carrie Fisher, who played, obviously, Leia Skywalker in the Star Wars sagas. And, I mean, I loved her. I think she had to be my favorite Chanel, because every time she talked, it was so emotionless. And then she always hung on to those little, earmuffs that she wore all the time, and then of course the story that went on the earphones that she had to wear all the time. That was hilarious, about a boy who was so in love with her that he threatened to cut off her ears if he ever saw her again. And so she always wears the earmuffs. And then of course, after she had gone to jail, she had her hair done Leia style. So I thought that was funny, especially since she's Carrie Fisher's daughter of Star Wars, and she had her hair done in the season finale exactly like Carrie Fisher. It was her trademark hair buns in the Star Wars trilogy, well, the middle ones. And so anyway, I love Billie Lourd. This was the first time I had ever seen her on screen. I'm not familiar with her other work, and I'm very impressed with her. And I know she's coming back for season 2, so I'm very excited to see her again and her little emotionless talk. I think she also killed it with her acting and how flat she was through the whole time. And even if she had to show emotion or something, oh my God, that was scary. Yeah. I mean, again, guys, she was one of my favorites. Was she one of yours? I thought she was awesome. Then we have Chanel number 5, who is Abigail Breslin. She is absolutely adorable as well. I've seen her movies, before she came into the show, and I didn't realize she was in Scream Queens. And I thought that she did really awesome. It's great to see her too as a grown-up rather than as a child and take on a more challenging, bitchier role than what she would normally do. It was really great to see that change of her. So, and I thought she did a great job, and I thought she looked beautiful every time she came out. I mean, the makeup designers and the costume designers for that show, I mean, kudos to you guys. You made the girls look flawless. I mean, she was really beautiful. Then we have Chanel number 6, who is Hester, and ultimately, spoiler warning, one of the Red Devil killers. Now, I'm not a fan of Lea Michele. You know, I don't listen to her music. I've never seen her stuff before, so this is the first thing I've ever seen her in. And I have to say, she did a pretty good job as well. She was a great little actress. And I kind of thought from the beginning, right in the pilot, you know, that she was a little sociopath, that she disconnected herself from actual emotions and feelings. And that made me think she's probably the killer. But I did put that thought aside, obviously, because the show gives you ample opportunities to speculate that other characters are the killer as well. But I thought that Lea Michele did a great job. Then we have Grace, who is Skylar Samuels, who is this perfect, pretty, little innocent girl. And we get a mystery at the first couple of episodes that she was the little baby girl born in the bathtub in 1995 to the unbeknownst pregnant sorority sister. However, it turns out that Grace is not the little girl from the bathtub. Her mother was actually the sorority president in 1995, and who was the one who would not help the girl in the bathtub because waterfalls had came on. So it turns out that Grace's mother was one of the biggest bitches of the show. And I thought that was a great twist, because if they would have put Grace as the little girl from the bathtub and still given her the twin brother twist, I wouldn't have liked that. That still would have been stupid. So I'm glad that they changed it and put Grace as the daughter of the bitchy sorority head president sister. So what do you guys think about that twist? Did you like that one as well, like I did? Or did you hate it and think that they should have gone another way? I'm just curious what you guys think. And of course, guys, one last character that we can't forget is Zayday Williams. Zayday. I love her name too, dude. Her name really kicks ass. I mean, she was just an awesome character. She was a very strong young woman who was raised by her grandmother. And I don't know, I always liked her character. Her character made good decisions. She was always a good person. And she stood up against, Chanel at one point to be president for the sorority. And I don't know, I just think that they did a pretty good job keeping her as friends with Grace, keeping her as a little sidekick for Grace, bounce her ideas off of and her theories off of. And, she was a pretty good supporting character for Grace. I do hope, though, in the next season that they push her forward more and give her more of a storyline. I love the fact that she kept that chainsaw under her bed because her grandma sent it to her. There was just a lot of stuff about Zayday that I liked. So again, I really hope that in season 2, we get a lot more of her than just the little stuff that we got the first season. But I understand why they did that. That's a lot of information to give us in one season with a lot of characters that they're constantly killing off, and they want us to care about them as they kill them off. So then we have Sam, who is Jenna Ham, who was the lesbian in the sorority pledge group. She was really cool, actually, and I thought she was really cute. And the relationship between Sam and Chanel number 3 starts to blossom from the pilot up until when, spoiler, Sam is killed in the secret room of the sorority house. And I was really upset when Sam died. I was really liking her character and her relationship, how it was evolving with Chanel number 3. I kind of wish that would have been able to play out more, but I understand why the writers did that, and that was, it was a good time, I guess, to take her out. Made us wanting more, and rather than just overplay her character and leave us hoping that she'd die, Then we have Deaf Taylor Swift. Her death was the funniest death in the entire season. I mean, do you guys agree with that? I mean, if you don't, who do you think was the funniest death? But when they're all pushed up to the ground, when they're all dug into the ground, up to their heads in dirt, and the lawnmower guy starts going, all the girls are screaming, And deaf Taylor Swift is asking, "Are you singing Taylor Swift?" And she starts singing it too. At the top of her lungs, she starts singing Shake It Off. And it's hilarious because all these girls around her are screaming. And you have this one girl who is horribly singing Shake It Off by Taylor Swift. I mean, it was hilarious. And then all of a sudden the lights go into her eyes because obviously they couldn't move their heads when they were dug into the ground, since, you know, they couldn't move their shoulders. And so when the lights finally come into her face and she recognizes what's happening, she stops screaming the Taylor Swift, and then she starts screaming, and then it mows right over her. I mean, again, that had to have been the best and funniest death in the entire season. That's just my opinion. And then we have creepy candle girl Jennifer. She was a candle blogger, and, you know, hey, she was very smart. She knew about a lot of stuff, and she came in handy a lot of time. It made me sad too when she died, because we certainly Chanel needed her intelligence. So, you know, but still, I understand that, you know, that's what the show is all about. You got to kill off characters. Spoiler warning, you know, Boone was the second Red Devil killer. It turned out that Hester and Boone's mom, the one who died in the tub, right after the girls left to go dance waterfalls, Gigi was the fourth sorority sister, and she stayed with the mom while she was dying. And right as soon as she did die, that's when the second baby came out. And that's when the dean showed up to fix it all and all that stuff. Now, Boone obviously was the baby boy. So I kind of thought that was a pretty cool too, little you know, push out for Boone. Boone, my boy Boone. Which leads me to Chad Powell. Or excuse me, his last name wasn't Powell. In real life, his last name is Powell, but it was Chad Radwell. That's it, Chad Radwell. Radwell. I love his last name. That was funny too in itself. His family, the things he says, and how he thinks about himself, that was hilarious. I mean, obviously, you know, he was a condescending prick, and who would probably never be happy a day in his life. Truly happy. But it was funny to watch that kind of character that they created, who could only be the boyfriend for Chanel. I mean, you know, when you think about it, what kind of guy would Chanel actually date? I mean, she wouldn't date a guy like, let's see, Paul was his name, the one who was helping Grace with the investigations. And I know you guys are probably shouting his name right now at the screen. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. But you know what I'm talking about. So, again, it was just it was a really great show. It was so many great characters, so many great scenes. And again, guys, I do want to know what your favorite scene was, what your favorite kill was, who your favorite character was, all that stuff. And as far as the ending, let's talk about the ending. Basically, guys, the show ended with Hester framing Chanel number 1, number 3, and number 5 with the Red Devil murders. You know, I mean, that was still pretty, I mean, I have to say the season finale did seem a little unrealistic because, you know, Grace had DNA evidence, you know, proving Hester and Boone were related and, you know, born to that woman. But nobody seemed to want to believe that. I just didn't get that. However, you know, that's just the way television works. Sometimes you just gotta accept it. At least they didn't cliffhanger us and leave us to not know who the Red Devil killer was. That would have truly sucked, and I'm glad that they didn't do that. Anyway, so it basically ended with Hester getting away with it and the 3 Chanels going to prison. And that's funny too, because their verdict was originally not guilty. And then Chanel stood up, made this big speech about how much the jurors were cows, and how much if they wanted to get her a jury of her peers, that they needed to get a bunch of white, rich, spoiled young girls. And then that made the jury switch their verdict to guilty. I don't understand how that's legal, but hey, this is television land. I rolled with it. I thought it was funny, and it went very well with the story. Because, of course, you couldn't prove that they were guilty. You know, that's common sense, obviously. But the fact that they did it themselves. They put themselves in jail. And they didn't actually go to jail. They went to an asylum. I thought it was really funny, too, at the end on how all of the Chanels embraced the asylum, which I had kind of thought that they would. Because when you do think about it, though, guys, it is, you know, calmness, and you have no choice but to be calm because of the kick-ass drugs they give you. And then you get to lay down in a bed, nowhere else to go. You don't have to get up and go to work. You can read, you can scream, you can be electrocuted anytime you want. This actually seems like it would be a great place to go. I understand why Chanel felt the way she did. Just a little joke. But, you know, I understand why it turned out that way. And I thought that was funny on how the Chanels embraced the hospital rather than looked down on it and thought that they were in hell. You know, instead that they thought they were in a wonderful place and they never wanted to leave. And in fact, they were more happier there eating actual food rather than cotton balls and having to worry about being popular, college and parents and all this stuff. I thought that was a really great ending for them. So, you know, it still did end, though, with Chanel having a nightmare about the Red Devil. So I don't think the Red Devil was actually there. I think she was just having a nightmare. But we'll see in Season 2. So I will give you guys some information as Season 2 is coming along. I am going to watch the show. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a review, guys. If I finish one of the book that I'm working on now before September, I should be able to start reviewing Scream Queens Season 2 episode by episode. But if I'm not done with my book, then I won't be able to. So let's just see how time goes, and let's see if I can actually start reviewing the show one by one. Because doing the review now for the whole season makes me wish that I had done an episode by episode review. Because there was so much information. The fact that Gigi was in on it and dating Grace's dad. And I mean, there was just so much extra information and one-liners that I don't even get a chance to really talk to you guys about. So I'm going to see, like I said, how it goes. Brings me to Season 2, guys. Season 2. All right, guys. Season 2. Season 2 is going to be here soon. I don't have a release date yet, but it is going to be in the fall. And these are the actresses and the actors that are returning. Emma Roberts is coming back, as well as Leah Michele, Billy Lord, Abigail Breslin, Keke Palmer. And then we have, oh my gosh, I believe Jamie Lee Curtis might be coming back. And then, of course, Chad Radwell is coming back. I'm so sorry, I can't believe I didn't write down the rest of it. I think there's one more character that's coming back next season. And we do know that the Season 2 is going to take place in like a hospital, possibly an asylum, which that would make sense because that is where Chanel number 1, 3, and 5 are at. So that's the show, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you again very much for recommending the show to me. Again, guys, I had no idea that it was a Ryan and Brad creation. I really appreciate everything you guys do and how you interact with me and how you comment. I mean, everything. I just really appreciate it. I am going to try to watch the People vs. OJ, but first I have to go get a colonic. Okay? Thank you again for watching. My appointment is almost ready. And see you guys next time.